Welcome back to New Rockstars. This is the big question, the show that gives you too much information on what antique from your grandparents' house that you should bring with you to a fight. Hint, always grab the hurdy-gurdy. My name is MT and I'm here today with off-screen producer Brandon. What's going on, brother?
Hello, MT. So happy to be here today. Yeah, grab that hurdy-gurdy. It's a very powerful instrument. You can win over the battle with a sweet song, or maybe just hit your opponent in the head, knock him out cold. Boom. Boom.
The amount of Law and Order episodes that I've seen with death by hurdy-gurdy, it's just too much. It's honestly just an overused trope at this point.
Ice-T coming in, man, like he had a hurdy-gurdy.
Well, look at me, I just know stuff.
You just try to buy it. You have to buy a hurdy-gurdy on the dark web.
Gotta buy it.
It's like, this is a dangerous weapon. Oh my God. What's our big question for today, Brandon?
Well, MT, with so much going on in the multiverse these days, it's hard to keep track of where some of the most powerful devices are. You know, leading up to Infinity War, we all knew that the most powerful thing in the universe were the Infinity Stones, plus that sweet, sweet golden gauntlet. But now what? You know, now what's the big bad now? What are we so scared of? You know, as Doctor Strange gets ready for this big battle, we want to know what supreme artifacts he has at his disposal. You know, what can he bring to this fight that's going to give him the upper hand? And that leads us to this week's big question. What are the most powerful artifacts still around in the MCU?
That's a great question, Brandon. Well, the MCU has introduced some really powerful items during its amazing 14-year run. And while some of them may have been lost or destroyed or even depowered, there are still a bunch of things out there that could be very useful in a battle. So we're going to check in on some of the most powerful artifacts out there in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and remind ourselves where they are, what they can do, and whether or not they might be useful in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Let's dive in with our first one, the iPhone 9. No one knows what happened to that. It never came out.
Still very
the most
useful.
Powerful phone.
Still very useful.
Now, this first one is sort of a gimme. It's the Darkhold from WandaVision. And it's obviously going to play a huge part in Doctor Strange 2 as we see it in the trailer. And currently, Wanda Maximoff is in possession of this dark magic tome, but we do know that Doctor Strange is going to at least pull some red globs out of it and then smash them back into the book. Because that's what you do when you have the Darkhold. You just play around with some chaos energy. Why not?
Yeah, smash her back in there.
Now, we don't have a confirmed origin for the Darkhold in the MCU, but in the comics, it was created by the Elder God Chthon. And it was his diary of darkness where he wrote down all of his spells, prophecies, and evil ruminations on indestructible pages of flesh, just like me. That's how I write my feelings.
I hate it. I hate when you're in college and they make you go buy like brand new books of flesh like every semester. And you're like, can I just use
That's why I use check.
the last edition? And they're like, no, you got to buy the newest Flesh books. And you can't even resell those Flesh books.
Now, the Darkhold was featured on the Marvel show The Runaways, but that show is not confirmed in the MCU canon. But it also looks completely different on The Runaways. But it's possible that the Runaways version of the Darkhold could appear as a variant in the Multiverse of Madness, but that could be really confusing. Yeah. So I don't really know if Marvel Studios would want to do that in particular.
Yeah, you're right that they look different. The MCU proper Darkhold looks really cool. The one they had on Runaways looked cool, but it kind of looked like if your high school was doing a production of the Multiverse of Madness and, you know, you had your prop master's a junior in high school and he had to make a book. It didn't look super cool. This one in the MCU looks very cool. I like the way it looks.
So we know that the Darkhold is going to be used in Multiverse of Madness, but how will it come into play, Brandon? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure that Doctor Strange wants to get his hands on this book, right? You know, we know this guy loves books. Yeah. He loves reading. He reads so fast. Old nerd. He's reading in his dreams. He's doing all that stuff. He loves to break the rules all the time. You know, he's looking at books he's not supposed to read, pissing off Wang. But I don't know if he knew of the Darkhold before the events of WandaVision happen and he hears about the Darkhold. I don't know how up he was on the Darkhold, if he had read about it in another book or something. But as soon as he knows about it, I'm sure he's like, I got to get this book, right? I got to see what's in here. I'm the former Sorcerer Supreme. I'll be back, Wang. Watch your back. But I want to read this book. And we know he gets his hands on it, right? Like you said, he pulls out the red globs, he smashes them back in. But I can't see a way that Wanda gives this book up easily. Because it's her book. I mean, it's got her picture in it. You know, it's her book.
It's true. It's her book. It has her name on it.
Yeah, I'm worried that you know, Doctor Strange stole the book, and that's really gonna piss off Wanda even more, and that's how it's gonna come into play. I don't think the book is gonna respond well to Doctor Strange because he doesn't mess around with dark magic that much that we know of. Not our Strange,
this
you know,
true.
The What If Strange did. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a situation where he gets the book, he tries to use it, and things go awry, as they often do for good old Doctor Strange. What about you, MT?
No, I definitely think that you're definitely on the money there. I think that Doctor Strange, well, especially like this Doctor Strange variant, Defender Strange, they're going to find the Darkhold or interact with the Darkhold, especially after the events of Doctor Strange 1, where, you know, Caecilius almost destroyed the planet with dark magic of some sort. So these Doctor Strange variants probably really want to learn about chaos magic and the nature of dark magic in general. So, like, I always say that the Doctor Strange series is just MCU Curious George, because that's exactly what it is. He's just too curious, and he's just like, you know what, I have to know. And so he's going to read that book, and he's going to become corrupted like Agatha, and probably Wanda at the end of WandaVision. Yeah. So it's going to play a big role, for sure.
Yeah. As Doctor Strange has said, the multiverse is something we know, about which we know frighteningly little. But I imagine that the Darkhold has a lot to say about the multiverse. You know, when Wanda was looking at it, those little globes we think are those little red balls, they're different universes, right? Probably the same thing when Doctor Strange is doing his little magic. So it's like, this is the one thing where you can learn about the multiverse, but it's also shrouded in dark magic. So that's the dangerous part of it, right? You can learn about the multiverse, but you're going to let something out that you didn't want to. And I'm glad you brought up the Runaways version of the Darkhold too, because I think that would be interesting if there's like another Darkhold that gets pulled in. We have to assume every universe has its own Darkhold, and maybe they interact in some way, and you can like link them all together, something like that.
That's a really, I really like that idea of like variants of the Darkhold just coming together, and like maybe the Illuminati has like a Darkhold library. It's like, we just take this from various Wandas and Doctor Stranges that act up.
This library is all copies of Eat, Pray, Love from every different universe, and this one is all Darkholds. Do not get them mixed up. Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
They will both kill you. Don't mistake. They will both end your life.
One thing I did like about the Darkhold on Runaways was that people couldn't read it, right? Some people, if they looked at the book, it was like blank. But if you had the power, if you had the magic, when you looked at the book, you could see the words in it. Like, I like that little caveat. That way you're keeping like the real danger out of super unprepared hands. It would be interesting to find out if our Darkhold works that way too. You know, we've only ever seen Agatha and Wanda interact with it. Both of them have the touch. They have the power. So they're able to read the book. But it would be cool if like someone else picks it up, like Bruce Banner picks it up and he's like, I don't see anything. You know, you get a little Westworld action where he's like, this doesn't look like anything to me. This doesn't look like anything to me.
It doesn't look like anything to me.
It reminds me of that DW meme. I can't read. I can't read this side. I forget how it goes.
That sign can't stop me because I can't read.
Yeah, I think that like we have universes of light, which is like where all like the human beings and aliens live, but then like between these universes of light, there's the dark space, and like we sort of see it at the beginning of the Loki finale, where they have these two black holes, and I think that the space between those black holes is the dark realm where all the evil creatures and like all the darkness lives.
I like that idea that there's like the dimensions can kind of exist in between universes. They're not totally like wrapped up inside of the universe because it's a different dimension. They can be in that little in-between space. You know, it's like the idea that as you go down, right, there's space in between everything. Like even your tiny little atoms, there's your atoms in your body are mostly empty space. As you keep going down, you'll never find things touching, right? There's always space between everything, no matter how small you get in the quantum realm. You can't ever get things to touch. So it's like there's always that darkness in between.
She's touching me. I'm not touching you. You're touching me.
The Darkhold, I think, could be used as a way to access that darkness or let stuff out of that darkness. Like maybe that ribbon monster we see in the trailer came out of the Darkhold. Because we don't know everything this thing could do. It's not just a book of spells. It has a lot of power. Chthon put like so much darkness into this thing. You know, they've used it so much in the comics, and in the comics, it's basically this endless resource of stuff. Everything is in there. They find something new every day inside the Darkhold. even though in the MCU, no, it kind of looks like it's just like 10 pages, right? It looks kind of small and like the pages look kind of thick and weird, but I bet it's one of those weird magical things where you just keep flipping and there's always new pages to find. Like there's no end to it.
It's probably like a magic tablet or of some sort where like each page changes. It's like, oh, what do you need?
I'm a text of the darkest, most arcane type. I could be of great assistance to you.
What the
I really do want to see more of the Darkhold and like who else is in there?
Yeah.
Like who else is damned? Because like it's not only Wanda.
That's the book of the
A new item that we should certainly be discussing are the 10 rings, which were recently introduced in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Rings. And these fashionable accessories pack a powerful punch, granting the wielder of these rings enhanced strength and longevity. And Wenwu was able to live for 1,000 years with these circle weapons on his arms. Good God, what a perk. I would love to live for 1,000 years and not die. But then again,
I'll take like 300 years and that's enough. Then I'm tired. I need a nap.
Yeah, 300 is good. As long as I can get to the next Avengers movie, I'm good.
It's been 84 years.
And the rings can be fired like projectiles, used as protective shields, and channel energy blasts, which is super, super dope. Wenwu, like literally, when Wenwu was using these rings in Shang-Chi, one of the coolest things in the MCU that I've ever seen. Like, I'm very sad that he's dead because, like, my God, he knew how to use those rings real good.
I like when Shang-Chi, like, put him on his foot and we're like, now I'm going to kick you really hard. And I was like, oh, that's smart. That was smart. You don't got to just punch him. Put him on your foot. Kick him.
I'd like to see, like, him, like, when he first gets the rings, he's like, how many different ways can I use this? I would put this on my foot.
Don't think too hard about that question. You get a pretty raunchy answer.
But yeah, in the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi, we see Wang examining the rings along with holograms of Bruce and Carol Danvers. What we don't know is if Wang kept the rings or let Shang-Chi hang on to them. And Wang does mention that they're not listed in any of Kamar-Taj's codexes, so I guess that he doesn't have any Eldritch magic claim over any of the rings. So, it would make sense for him to just let Shang-Chi keep them.
Yeah.
So we're not sure what they're made of exactly, or if they're even of extraterrestrial origin. But Bruce Banner does confirm that they're much older than 1,000 years. And the rings do seem to operate on some sort of magic, because when Shang-Chi started to use them with the Ta Lo magic, Wang does mention that he felt the use of the rings. Like, he felt Shang-Chi using the rings while he was in Ta Lo. And presumably, he never felt them before when Wu was utilizing them. So what do we think? Could the 10 rings be utilized in the Multiverse of Madness, Brandon?
I would love to see him come back again. I don't want to wait until, Shang-Chi 2 to see these rings again. They were so awesome. And we got to see them really used in the last third of that movie. But there was so much of that movie we're not seeing them in action. I want to see Shang-Chi like have them the whole time, right? But I think that Wang let Shang-Chi keep the rings. You mentioned he was like, oh, they're not in any of our codexes, so he couldn't pull like a British museum and be like, these are ours now.
Mine.
Come and get them, Killmonger. We're taking these from you. These are magic items. You can't have these. These are ours. They belong to magic people. He could have tried to pull that move, but he didn't pull it. So I think that Shang-Chi does still have them. And I think, like you said, you have to have some sort of magic to use them. But it was interesting that Wang never sensed it. They were never sensing it when Wenwu was using them. When he used it, there was like a blueness to them. And then when Shang-Chi used them, there's the orangeness, right? And you've talked about this, MT, the like Ta Lo magic and the dark magic. Because I guess when Wenwu was using them, was he using like dark magic to utilize the rings? Because he was doing evil things?
I honestly do feel like, just based on like the Marvel Trigger Theory video that I posted in the past, I think that the symbolism of Wenwu's blue rings sort of symbolizes that like his soul was removed. Because I think that the orange glow in all of the Marvel movies is symbolic of the soul stone and the soul singularity magic. So when Shang-Chi gets these rings, he hasn't had these rings suck out his soul for 1,000 years. Right. So like he's fresh. So like they're using his power to activate, whereas Wenwu doesn't have like that orange soul glow in him anymore because he used the rings. The rings probably sucked out all of his soul out.
His humanity's gone.
So he just uses this dark energy around him that he could just summon from the air because dark energy is all around.
Well, maybe that's
really scientific.
And that could be where the rings came from, right? We don't know their origin yet. They won't even tell us if they're from Earth or from space. So their origins could be tied to dark magic. I mean, they could be tied to the Darkhold, MT. I bet there's a page in the Darkhold about those rings. That would be really
honestly, I think that's a huge possibility because we're entering this new chapter of darkness in the MCU because we're getting the Blade and we're getting Gore the God Butcher and I'm getting a Multiverse of Madness. Like darkness is where this next phase of the MCU is going for sure. So like I can definitely see these rings being tied to a time from before the Big Bang even happened. So like that's why they're just like this thing's super old. We can't even date it.
I would love to see in the Multiverse of Madness like Wang, maybe Doctor Strange, but maybe Wang. You know, he's like, I got a guy. Hold on a second. And he calls up Shang-Chi. Either Shang-Chi comes and help, or Shang-Chi's like, here, you can just use the rings for a little bit. And while Wang maybe doesn't know all the kung fu, he just uses magic to like use the rings, right? And have them like float around him, do some like badass eldritch magic geometric patterns with the rings, and then like shoot them at the darkness. Sick. That would be so cool. And then send them back through the sling ring. Like, here you go. Thanks so much. Well, thanks for letting me borrow this. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me borrow this. Yeah. He just sends it back. It's all bloody.
Yeah. It's like covered in blood and guts of like dimensional beings. He's like, what the hell happened to my rings? You gotta wash them, Wang. You gotta wash the rings.
He's like, that's not my job anymore. I'm Sorcerer Supreme.
I'm Sorcerer Supreme.
But hey, let's discuss Wong's weapon of choice, the Wand of Woodson. Because first appearing in Doctor Strange, this weapon is used by magic wielders to help enhance, focus, and redirect their magical powers. And Wang uses it in the Battle of the Hong Kong Sanctum at the end of Doctor Strange 1. Now, what might be most interesting about this weapon is that in the comics, there are actually 6 wands spread across different dimensions. And the wand can be used to open portals to other dimensions, something that could be useful in Multiverse of Madness. So, like, do you think that this could play a huge role in the upcoming film?
I really hope so. You know, I think in Doctor Strange, they really introduced a lot of, they were nods to comic book fans, right? Like, you know, here's the Wand of Woodson, you know, here's the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, right? And they just kind of use them quickly in the movie and then they disappear. But these are supposed to be like really important items, right? Doctor Strange picks up that vase or whatever it is. It's like a cauldron or something. And, you know, Caecilius is like, do you even know how to use that? And he's like, no, I have no idea. But it's like, it's this very important thing in the comics, right? So I hope the Wand of Woodson comes back because like you said, that's a big device in the comics. Our boy Xandu, always going after the Wand of Woodson.
Hey, Xandu!
Xandu, the most powerful and feared villain of all of Marvel Comics. He's gonna be the secret
villain of this whole thing, man. The Phase 4 is gonna be Xandu.
Xandu fans, rise up. Your time is now. He's coming.
All my Xandudes out there, stand up
Come on, Xandudes.
Xandudes and dudettes, let's go.
Come on, Xandudes, hit that subscribe button. Come on, let's get these likes to 10K, baby. But I hope that Wand of Woodson comes back because it is a really powerful device. And like you mentioned, MT, the fact that you know in the comics it's something that's like spread across dimensions, that could be useful here, right? They're gonna have to be opening dimensions and breaking into other multiverses. So I would love to see the wand come back here and really be utilized, like really channel some powerful stuff and become a big weapon.
For sure. And like I wonder if Wang was using that in No Way Home. He's like, you know what? You guys do your thing. I'm going to use this Wand of Woodson to go to different dimensions. Like, what if that snowy place was a different dimension?
Yeah, he was packing his bags and taking the Wand of Woodson on a trip around the dimension.
Yep. He's like, I don't care what Doctor Strange does, as long as I have the most important thing here, the Wand of Woodson.
Yeah, but it better show up again. I would like to see it come back in this film. Get utilized and maybe let Doctor Strange use it. Maybe maybe Wang now is like, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme now. I don't need this. You can have it, Doctor Strange.
This is like training wheels. Yeah, I don't need this.
These are for lesser wizards, so you can have it. Go ahead.
But hey, one of the most powerful weapons in the MCU right now has got to be Stormbreaker, Thor's mighty axe of a replacement for his beloved and crumbled Mjolnir, but still very much packs quite a punch. And this one doesn't have a very specific enchantment that keeps anyone from wielding it. So you don't have to be worthy to pick this bad boy up, though you probably need a significant arm strength. And the last we saw of Stormbreaker, Thor was taking it with him for his adventures with the Asgardians of the galaxy. But if he were to get a call from his good friend Doctor Strange, would he be willing to lend it over to help? Could Doctor Strange even wield this thing with his, messed up hands? He's just a human being after all, and he has messed up hands. So what do you think?
I think he could do a little magic enchantment to give him the power to like pick up Stormbreaker. This is probably a wild one. I mean, I wouldn't expect to see this one in the film, but that would be so cool if Doctor Strange was able to utilize it. Again, use a little magic, have it like swirl around your head, send it shooting into your villain, aim for the head. You always got to aim for the head.
You always got to aim for that dang head, man. Like, come on. Like, why would you not? We know in the comics that Stormbreaker is primarily used by Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah.
So, like, what if we see a Beta Ray Bill variant or an appearance in Multiverse of Madness? Because we did see him briefly appear as an Easter egg in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Like, I would love to see him show up here, especially if we're going to be jumping through multiverses and everything. But that would be a cool idea, right? It's not the Stormbreaker we see Doctor Strange use isn't our Thor's. It's actually Beta Ray Bill's. And he's like, yeah, go ahead, take this for a spin.
Could I borrow a couple of these?
It's pretty neat. Go ahead. I mean, Odin let me use it in my universe, so like I'm sure it'd be cool if you use it. It just doesn't matter. I think it'd be really dope if that Stormbreaker was an element. I would love to see just a different Thor. We do know in the comics that Donald Blake was a big part of of the Thor mythos,
right?
And we haven't really seen this Donald Blake separate from Thor yet.
Yeah.
We do see that. We do know that Thor 1 briefly mentioned.
Yeah, they teased it, right? We saw her. She had the name tag that said Donald Blake or whatever, right?
Yeah,
an old fling. This is my cane called Stormbreaker.
Just a regular cane / umbrella, whatever I need it to be, really. But hey, speaking of canes and staffs and whatnot, Gungnir was Odin's staff that we've seen wielded in every Thor film. It's made of Uru and is able to project powerful amounts of energy. It can even channel dark energy to act as a teleporter, similar to the Bifrost. And Odin uses Gungnir to send Thor back to Earth to retrieve Loki in Avengers, which is why Loki says, "How much dark energy did father have to use to send you back?"
Oh, Dad loves you so much.
Dad loves you more than me because he's your real father.
So much dark energy.
Gungnir can also be used to operate the Bifrost, just in case you misplace Heimdall's sword.
I lost it. I know I can see everything, but I can't see where my sword is.
Heimdall can see everything, but can he see why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch? I don't think so. But is this staff really still around? Because during the events of Ragnarok, we saw Thor utilize his father's weapon while battling his sister Hela, and he sort of leaves it on the throne room as the battle rages on, and then Surtur does his thing and Asgard is destroyed, so can we assume that this staff is just floating around in space somewhere? Like, could Doctor Strange just snag it and use it? Like, do you think it's still intact?
Yes, and yes, MT. There's no way the staff got destroyed when Ragnarok happened. It's too powerful. It's such an important item. I think it is just kind of floating around in space. There was lots of stuff in Odin's vault that I assume is just still floating in space, like the cask of Ancient Winters, right? There's no way that thing was destroyed. Right. It's too powerful. I think it's just like debris floating out there. So if you know how to fly to Asgard, you can just go grab it, right? But I think Doctor Strange could open a little portal and zip it right out of space because he can sense it. Asgardian magic, I think, is probably pretty close to Eldritch magic. I would assume those two things are very similar. They're both tied to Earth in similar ways. They're utilized on Earth and in different places throughout the universe. So I would think that if any of these items would respond to magic that Doctor Strange uses, it would be like an Asgardian item. He could utilize the staff. And it would be really cool to see that come back. Loki killed his dad with it, right? Didn't he stab Laufey with his dad's spear? Or his adopted dad's spear?
He incinerated him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he gave him the flame.
Yeah, he's no more. That was pretty diesel.
If we don't see it in this next film, it's got to show back up in Thor 4, right? It should be what Valkyrie has if she's the boss now. If she's the king of Asgard. Then, give her Gungnir. Let her use it. Gungnir can also channel the Odin force, right? It can direct that magic through it. So it is a powerful item. And of anything, I think this one could come back for sure. And it would be cool to see it get used in not a Thor film. Have it show up in Doctor Strange.
It would be super dope if it showed up in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness because, like you said, it's probably one of the most powerful weapons. If not the most powerful weapon in the MCU. I mean, I don't want to say that.
Hot take.
That's a huge take. I mean, obviously there's the Infinity Gauntlet, so that's number one.
That's old school. We're done with that. Let's move on.
yeah, it's just a glove. Who cares?
Plus, our Infinity Stones have been atomized. Or have they? Haven't. That was a trick.
Atomized. I would love to see Gungnir factor into Armor Wars in some way. Even if it would be crazy if it was just we literally have armor. This is a weapon.
People showing up in all these like
you know, we
Tony Stark like, you know, Iron Man type suits, and someone just like collecting them on the staff, just stabbing right through them, making shish kebabs out of these bad boys.
Just like Rhodey has to dodge like big staff. Like, oh no.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's a stick. But here's one you may not have considered, a temp pad. And these are the devices introduced in the Loki series that allow the TVA to move through time and space utilizing time doors. And they can also be used to call Miss Minutes, my former wife, who turned out to be evil, but, you know, marriage.
Most wives do, MT.
And they can also be used to call Miss Minutes, which, depending on what mood she's in, could be a good or bad thing. A temp pad would be extremely useful if Steven needed to jump around the timeline. And we saw in one of the Doctor Strange trailers what could possibly be a orange glow of a time door. So it's possible a temp pad could make an appearance in Multiverse of Madness. But how do these things work now that the TVA has been retconned by the death of He Who Remains? Like, you think they still like function the same, or?
The changes that were made to the TVA were pretty superficial, right? The statue changed. People don't know people the same way anymore, but like most of the infrastructure is still there. So I'd imagine that these temp pads would still work. I mean, this is a really cool idea, MT, that like Doctor Strange used a temp pad here to like jump around in time to get through it. I mean, those things do need to be recharged, remember? Like Sylvie's battery, when she was using it, the battery was running low. They must be connected to some sort of main, you know, TVA computer. So someone could probably track you if you were using it. That's how they caught, you know, Sylvie and stuff.
Dad, there's like whores here and stuff.
Sweetheart, how many times have I told you, don't say and stuff. Just say, Dad, there are whores here.
Well, there's like a ton.
This would be a really cool idea. You know, we talk about all these weapons and powerful items, but this item is super powerful for where it's able to move you around time and space. So I think definitely this would be a really cool thing for Doctor Strange to use. I would assume he'd be able to figure out how to use it. He's a pretty smart guy. He reads a lot. It seems pretty user friendly.
He reads a whole lot.
And man, if Miss Minutes shows up in Multiverse of Madness, all bets are off, baby.
I don't know if I can handle it. It's been a rough divorce, but you know, I think I'll be able to work my way up to us being in the same room together one of these days. But I don't know if it's going to be today.
One of these days.
I honestly think that there could be a link between these TVA doors and Doctor Strange's magic. Like 100% honestly, because like they both are orange energy sources, and we do know that Doctor Strange's magic allows for teleportation across distances.
Right.
But there could be a possibility that, you know, whatever power source powers these TVA temp pads could be linked to whatever energy that the Wizards of Camartage use. So, like, I think that Doctor Strange could be very proficient at a temp door and could theoretically maybe even create one himself. But who knows?
I mean, how pissed is he going to be if he gets a temp pad and is like, you could just use one of these to jump around time? I'm messing with a time stone? Like, I'm breaking the fabric of the universe and you guys are just using a little a calculator to get around? So, like, this isn't fair. He's going to be pissed. He's going to be so pissed.
Like, I could have used one of these on the top of Mount Everest a couple movies ago.
I almost died.
Rude. But those are our top picks for our top powerful artifacts in the MCU still around today. What do you think might make an appearance, Brandon?
I mean,
out of all of these, what's most likely?
These are a lot of cool things. You know, we know the MCU, they love to throw in new stuff all the time. We're probably going to get some new stuff, you know, like in No Way Home, they throw in the Machina de Cadavis out of nowhere, and then it's gone again. So we'll probably get new stuff. But if there's going to be a return of an artifact, you've made a lot of strong arguments here today. I'm going to put my money on the 10 rings. I would love to see them show up. Ooh. Just a little appearance again. You know, they're new. They're hot on the scene. I'd like to see them again in this movie. Just real quick. Just a little pop in, pop out of the 10 rings would be really awesome. What about you, MT?
We know that the Darkhold is going to be in this, so I'm not going to say the Darkhold because that's obviously the most important. But yeah, I think the 10 rings are going to play a huge role moving forward because like I believe personally that they are tied to this new dark chapter of the MCU. And they are like a dark item, much like your ebony blade that we saw at the end of Eternals. I think we're just going to get all these dark items. And I would love to see the 10 rings further explained by having like either a variant pop up and just be like, all right, here are the 10 rings. Wang had an analysis. Let's see what Doctor Strange thinks of these 10 rings.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'd be really dope to see the 10 rings just factor in, and maybe a Wenwu variant popped up and just mess things up.
Oh.
Like, I would love to see Wenwu on the council. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
On the Illuminati council?
Like a Wenwu that doesn't get beat by Shang-Chi and keeps them for another 1,000 years and gets even more evil and dark and messed up. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Before we continue, our friends at Epicura Shop have 3 new Batman-inspired shirts just in time for the film's premiere, and you won't find these original designs anywhere else. And they also have multiple sock designs and even a Riddler tie. So find all this cool new merch and lots more over at newrockstarsmerch.com. And before we dive into our bite-sized questions next, some words from the lovely people that help bring us Big Question to you. People like Avast. Cybersecurity is confusing and scary, but luckily we have Avast to help us with it. Avast has been a global leader in cybersecurity for more than 30 years and is trusted by over 435 million users. And thanks to Avast for supporting Big Question. Avast empowers you with digital safety and privacy, no matter who you are, where you are, or how you connect, so you can enjoy the opportunities that come with being connected on your terms. Avast's new all-in-one solution, Avast One, helps you take control of your safety and privacy online through a range of features. Learn more about Avast One at avast.com. Avast Antivirus stops viruses and malware from harming your devices. And Avast PC Speedup manages the background data apps use and speeds up your PC. I like the peace of mind you get from Avast One from not having to worry about viruses or malware. And Avast prevents over 1.5 billion attacks every month. And with Avast One, you can confidently take control of your online world without worrying about viruses, phishing attacks, ransomware, hacking attempts, and other cyber crimes that should not be allowed. Learn more about Avast One at avast.com.
Online shopping isn't slowing down anytime soon. I know you want it to, but it's not going to. Is your business ready to keep up with the pace? With ShipStation, you'll never worry about shipping again. Imagine a world where you're never worrying about shipping. The things you could do, the things you could worry about. It'll be great. Make the switch to handle all your shipping needs quickly, affordably, and painlessly. Go to ShipStation. ShipStation is already trusted by over 100,000 e-commerce sellers. Keep track of orders from any sales channel. Easily find the best shipping carrier with deeply discounted rates. Automate just about any shipping task with just a few clicks. We've used ShipStation at New Rockstars and loved how easy it made shipping a bunch of stuff to a bunch of different people. It was also great to save money by comparing the rates of different carriers. Save time by funneling all your orders into one simple interface, no matter what you're selling. Manage every order, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, or your own website from anywhere, even your phone. Make shipping the easy part of having an online store. No wonder 98% of companies that use ShipStation for a year keep using it for as long as they're in business. It's that good. Ship more in less time with ShipStation. Use code BIGQUESTION to get a 60-day free trial. That's 2 months free of no hassle, stress-free shipping. Just go to ShipStation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and type in Big Question. ShipStation. Make ship happen.
Ooh, you said a bad word. Wait, no, you didn't. You said ship.
It's a tricky bad word.
And hey, we love to learn more about our audience and what you're into, so we can make creative choices and choose sponsors that are relevant to our fans, because I just feel like that makes sense. So there's a quick survey that we'd really appreciate if you could take at the bottom of the description box below. So check out the link in the description to give us some feedback, because we would really appreciate it, so you could see more things that you guys would like to see as sponsors, because we just don't want to, just shove random things into your eyeballs.
We love doing these ad reads, but we want to do ad reads for ads that you want to hear read to you.
You know what's super kind, Brandon?
What?
Food. Especially bite-sized food.
I love bite-sized food.
It's time for our bite-sized question, Brandon. That's how I eat. I say ham nom nom every time I eat.
Must be so great on dates with MT. Hear him go nom 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 in the restaurant.
It's why I'm single.
She's like, I'm gonna leave. Bye.
I'm going home. Brendan, what is the better overall metal, Beskar or Vibranium? This is from Cameron Metal Struggles on Discord. Thank you, Cameron.
Oh boy, here we go. We're comparing metallic elements from 2 completely different fictional universes. So let's just lay that caveat right out at the top, okay? This is nearly impossible to do, but we're gonna do it, all right? Beskar, the metal so loved by the Mandalorians in the Star Wars universe, and Vibranium, the compound from the meteorite that landed in Wakanda and is used to make all sorts of amazing tech, most notably Cap's shield and Black Panther's suit. Okay, so these are our 2 metals we're gonna compare. We'll start with Beskar from the Star Wars universe, okay? It has a high tolerance to different forms of damage, whether it's like physical, blaster fire, heat. Very high tolerance to that, very hard to damage. It can even repel lightsaber strikes. I mean, that's pretty badass, right? Lightsabers are...
That is super badass.
Yeah, it's a very powerful weapon in the Star Wars universe, and this is like the one metal that can resist it. It's the toughest and most legendary metal in the galaxy for Star Wars. So that's... It's very important, very, very high functioning stuff. And here's a fun fact for you folks at home. The term Beskar didn't come around until an article from the Star Wars Insider magazine in 2006. This article was called The Mandalorians, People and Culture. Before then, this metal was just called Mandalorian Iron. And it only comes from Mandalore and its moon Concordia. So that's why it's so valuable and so precious. But yeah, Beskar is a very fresh term. I didn't even know this. It's super fresh from 2006. So then we have vibranium. And guess what, folks? It's also incredibly strong and durable.
That's what I keep hearing.
Vibranium can absorb vibration, right? And it can also deflect kinetic energy. So, you know, when we see like bullets hit vibranium, they bounce off and they don't just like drop down. They can bounce off and hurt other people. I think Captain America's used that quite effectively with his shield. And vibranium can also conduct electricity, which is good and bad. Good because, you know, you can use it as a conductive element, but also bad because Black Widow was able to just like shock Black Panther. He was like, you know, like, that's tough. That's tough sometimes. And of course, vibranium comes from somewhere in the universe. We don't really know where it comes from necessarily. Presumably there's a whole planet.
I think it comes from Florida.
Oh, from Florida? Oh, great.
Yeah.
All the good things come from Florida, right? Oranges and vibranium. That's it. There's a limited supply on Earth, though not that limited. We saw those caverns in Black Panther, and they're still mining it out of the ground. So they seem to have a lot.
Oh, they barely scratched the surface there.
Yeah, Beskar. They're trying to collect what's left of Beskar because Mandalore got blown up. In theory, there's a ton of vibranium throughout the galaxy of the MCU, but finding it can be tough. Another important thing that both of these elements share is they can damage themselves, right? So Beskar can damage Beskar, vibranium damages vibranium. You know, we've seen this played out in both franchises. They're both great metals, but at the end of the day, I think vibranium slightly takes the lead over Beskar, mainly because it's more malleable. You know what I mean? We saw like Beskar made into that cute little chainmail for little Grogu, right? And that's pretty flexible. You make the little links. But vibranium, they weave into their clothing, as Claw said, right? Like, you can make vibranium into this very light, thin mesh. So I think it's just, it has a slightly more advantage because it's a little more malleable than Beskar is. But these are both great metals, guys. I don't want to have a big fight about it. But in my humble opinion, I think vibranium is a slightly better metal than Beskar.
But our second bite-sized question of the day is, how fast can Iron Man fly? This is from AJ Smith 24 on Discord. Once again, AJ Smith, we love you. Thank you for your questions.
Yes, thank you. So how fast can an Iron Man fly? Well, in the comics, Iron Man has been shown to be able to reach some phenomenal speeds. He was able to escape a black hole, which means he would need to travel about the speed of light, pretty fast if you're not familiar with it.
A little fast, yeah.
In the comics, when he joined the Guardians of the Galaxy, he created a special armor that allowed him to travel at warp speeds between planets and sub-warp speed when he was just kind of, cruising around, which was about Mach 10 or roughly, 7,400 miles per hour. So pretty fast.
Just a casual Mach 10.
Yeah, just a casual Mach 10. And even, in the first Avengers, he chases down a missile, which is probably going about Mach 5. So he's going pretty quick. But most importantly, we saw in Infinity War how he used that little extra boost to chase down Ebony Maw in his flying donut, right? He had to catch that spaceship that was leaving Earth's atmosphere. And to leave Earth's orbit, you need to be going at least 25,000 miles per hour. And Tony was able to catch up to the ship, which was probably going at least that speed. So if he puts on that extra juice, we know he can at least get up to 25,000 miles per hour. So that's pretty fast. It's a good thing you can pee in the suit, because I would be peeing my pants if I was going that fast in an Iron Man suit, for sure.
I hope you can poop in the suit, because that's what I need. The poop to turn into energy.
Yeah, I'd be like, Jarvis, give me the brown suit. Here we go. Let's go.
Maybe that's why he can go Mach 10, is because the poop is helping him project forward like Super Mario Sunshine. That's disgusting. I am so sorry. Here we go. But now it is time for my favorite part of the show, way less dark than that, the box of scraps.
Oh, the box of scraps. The box of scraps.
Brandon, if you could have any one artifact from any fictional universe other than a box of scraps from Iron Man 1 and be able to use it, what would it be and why?
Item from any fictional universe. I'm going to turn to an animated universe here. I'm going to take the old the lamp from Aladdin. The genie's lamp.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh my, I've always wanted one ever since I watched Aladdin. I was obsessed with owning a lamp. I'm going to get
my 3 wishes. You know what I mean? I think that's what I'm going to go for.
What would you wish for?
You can't say what I'd wish for out loud. It won't come true, right? Or I guess you have to say it out loud to the lamp, right?
To Genie. He's like, do sign language, please. Yeah. Don't say it out loud.
The first wish is going to be tons of crypto. Crypto, baby. Give me that crypto.
Honestly, just having Genie as a friend, it's just really great, I hear.
You never had a friend like him, you know?
That's what I hear. But for me, it's definitely not as cool or efficient, I feel, as having a Genie. But I do think that having a TARDIS from Doctor Who would be freaking awesome. I'm a huge Doctor Who nerd. It's my favorite TV show of all time to this day.
That's pretty good.
So I would love to have a time-traveling police box where I could just travel space and time and just neglect my responsibilities. Because why not?
Now, I'm not up on Doctor Who. I'm not a Doctor Who aficionado. Don't come at me. Don't at me, okay? I don't have the time. It's
obviously,
47
honestly,
seasons of that show.
You're normal.
What's the little magic wand that he has?
The sonic screwdriver.
The sonic
screwdriver that he just it helps advance the plot. It's like, do I need this door unlocked? All right, here we go.
That would be helpful in my life too. Something that advances the plot of my life a little bit would be very helpful.
Exactly.
I'm not up on my Doctor Who, but I always say to all my Doctor Who friends, I wish you the best with Doctor Who. Every time there's a new series coming out, I'm like, I hope it's great for you guys. I hope it gives you everything you want. Because I think the Doctor Who fans, they get the high highs, but man, they get the low lows, and I feel bad.
We be getting the low lows, man. It's been rough on these streets over the past couple of years, man. But Russell T Davies, he's coming back.
I'm always pulling for my Doctor Who fans out there. I want the best for you guys. You guys, you've earned it. You deserve it. Best Doctor Who ever. It's coming your way. I promise.
But that is it for this episode of Big Question. A huge thank you to Brandon, as always, for joining me on this episode. Follow him at Barrick if you want to see him tweet amazing things. Follow me at MasterTainment if you want to see me tweet some really weird things. But follow New Rockstars anywhere we are on social media, especially on YouTube. And when you do on YouTube, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notifications every time we upload a video, which is basically every day. And if you want to continue the conversation, join our New Rockstars Discord if you are 18 years old and older. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. We love you guys so much, and thank you so much for spending time with us. We cannot wait to talk to you guys again. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. See you later. Kiss my ass.
So when Shang-Chi...
Do you know anyone who'd want to put a banana in your husband's rectum?
In the comics, Stormbreaker is the hammer of Billy Ray Cyrus. What was I going to say? Billy Ray Cyrus.
Someone kill me. I can't die. Why? Existence is pain. Roger.
Hold on.
Uh-oh. Get him the rings. He's dying. What are you listening to, John?
You can hear that?
Yes, I can hear that. Someone's at the doctor's office. I can still hear it.
That's an ad.
John's.
Heimdall can see everything, but can he see why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch? I don't think so.
Yeah, I still hear it.
Always grab the hurdy-gurdy. What the heck's a hurdy-gurdy?
People showing up in all these like Tony Stark, like, Iron Man type suits, and someone just like collecting them on the staff, just stabbing right through them, making shish kebabs out of these bad boys.
Just like Rodiance and Don, like being stabbed. Like, oh no! That new Rockstars. So check the new Rock. So sorry.
Up to the hurdy-gurdy when you're singing songs of love.
I'd like to see, like, when he first gets the rings, he's like, how many different ways can I use this? I would put this on my foot.
Don't think too hard about that question. You get a pretty raunchy answer.
Oh. That's That's how I eat. I say ham num num every time I eat.
Must be so great on dates with MT to hear him go num 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 in the restaurant.
After the first ham num 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 num, the girl just quickly exits.
She's like, ham num num num, I'm gonna leave. Bye.
And you won't find these originals. I keep going fast. Every time I speed up, I trip up my words. I just get so anxious because I'm like, editors need to get this done fast. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, smash her back in there. No. Keep track of orders from any sales channel. Easily find the best shipping care.